Hello, hello, Maverick Currency traders. This is Rob Reinhold. It is June 3rd. Let's jump into it. In this session, we're going to talk about the news of the day. We're going to take a look at all of the markets, and then we're going to go find what is strong, what is weak. Everything's going to be scored from +3 to -3, and that tells us where to go hunt.
All trades and analysis in this video are intended for professional traders only. This content does not constitute financial advice and is for educational purposes. This video is being released after a short delay due to Compliance Department review. Maverick members receive this content immediately as part of their daily trading resources. If you're ready to level up, consider joining Maverick Currencies. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits. You bring the skill, we provide the backing. Let's get into today's market recap and see how the pros are trading the currency markets.
Let's jump into what happened today, and let's go into the news of the day first. Overnight, we got the RBA minutes from their last meeting, and they basically said it is not yet time to move to expansionary policy. So right now, they say they are in either neutral or restrictive because of risk of inflation. And they're saying that the risks of inflation are still here, so they don't yet want to cut rates. So that was actually going to be bullish here for the Aussie zone. We saw the Aussie flat today. Nothing really happened, but it has been one of the stronger currencies here lately. We also got the Swiss CPI came in as expected at +0.1. That is below the band of where they want it to be. We also got the Eurozone CPI below expectations. So both the Euro and Swiss are experiencing not as strong of inflation as was expected. So what did that mean for Forex? Well, we got some decent movement today, and this is a theme that I've been talking about for the last 2 to 3 weeks. And I've said, look, the Forex market is just not moving. We need to be in other markets at this moment. And the one thing I said was dollar-yen is probably the best pairing to trade. Here's the problem. It's not really trending anywhere, but when you just take a look at what's moving the most up, what's moving the most down, this is the pair that seems to be delivering, and here it is today. Today it was by far the best pair to trade because you can see there was a 1% move in dollar-yen today. We've seen 1% moves almost every day for the last week or two. Other than that, you can see the moves are muted. Definitely very muted. We did get the pound and the CAD. Had a decent day today. We'll take a look at the CAD. I think the CAD is starting to look interesting. And the euro and the Swiss franc looked a little weak. But I'm going to continue to, number one, look at dollar-yen for trades before I look at anything else. The S&P was up a little bit. It was actually a pretty strong day because we are down overnight. Overnight, the OECD downgraded U.S. economic growth, and the futures were down about 0.6, 0.7%, and you can see that the markets close up 0.6%. So that's a 1.2% turnaround. That's a strong move here off the bottom. Cryptos basically did nothing. We're in consolidation at the moment in cryptos, and you can see that we saw very little movement here. This is the smallest movement you'll see on a daily basis in crypto. These are really, really tiny moves. Crypto is consolidating. So what we had 2 weeks ago was Forex consolidating and cryptos running. Now we're having cryptos consolidating and Forex is starting to look more interesting. It's not looking great, but it's definitely looking better than it did. Has anything changed in the market? No. We're at a +2 on our call on equities, and you can see we're high basing here. And not just high basing, but we are really trying to push out of this high base ascending triangle pattern. This candle here, a gap up and run, close near the high. If this was any other time, I would say we are looking for an imminent breakout. It still might happen, but we're in the first 2 weeks of June. The first 2 weeks of June are usually less volatile, less active, less everything. You typically don't get nice breakout and runs in the first 2 weeks of June. That's why I think, yes, the market's bullish. Yes, the market's going to stay bullish, but I just don't see a big breakout and run because we do have all-time highs about 2 or 3% higher that should be some decent resistance. So while I'm bullish in equities, it's not like I think they're going to run anywhere. Let's take a look at the calendar over the next 24 hours. Tonight, we do have Aussie GDP. If you're trading Aussie, you better be watching this. Tomorrow, we have Bank of Canada coming out. For the first time in a while, they're looking to hold rates steady. It'll be interesting to see what they say in their meeting. If you are trading CAD, and CAD is a currency I'm looking to trade, we'll take a look at the chart here in a second. You definitely need to be aware of big news and the possibility of a big move with some slippage tomorrow morning. Let's go take a look at some relative strength charts. I've got our relative strength here over a 4-hour chart. Let's go ahead and start with cryptos. I'm just going to show you what I mean by nothing's going on here. I mean, here is Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin. These are all on a 4-hour chart, and you can see there's no real momentum happening. Bitcoin's going flat to higher, but that's about it. Ethereum looks okay, nothing great. This is where, again, they're consolidating. They're just consolidating. Look at this price action here. Just consolidating. So I'm not interested in crypto at the moment. Let's take a look at the yen. Yen is starting to lose some momentum. We've broken below some support lines here. So for me, yen is a possible trade here. I do like yen short. As you can see, it's fallen. It's flattening out here. We're in the early Asian session, so we're probably going to get more basing here. So dollar has been moving to the upside, but you can see had that bounce, and it's really failing here. I'm not super bullish here on dollars. You can see RSI is flattened out. Everything's flattening out. Swiss franc, we're starting to see some nice price action to the downside. We did just break a support level. That's telling me, okay, Swiss franc is possible, but basing here. Euro doesn't look as negative. So I do like Swiss franc. I do like yen. I don't like euro on the short side. Here is pound. Short-term momentum indicators, 13 EMA on a 4-hour chart's turning up. RSI above 50 turning up. Broke parabolic SAR going up. But I just can't help to see, this was in a downtrend. So if you were to go long here, you're basically saying that was the bottom. And calling bottoms is really tough. It's much easier to call momentum at the moment than it is to call bottoms. Could this be a bottom? Yes, but I'd sure like to see some more technicals before that goes. So for me, yes, pound is a possible trade on the long side. I don't love it. Here is CAD. And you can see CAD here has just been going sideways. We're reaching up near the top end of that range. Every time it gets up into this area, it tends to fail. I just can't get excited for it. So we go to Aussie. Aussie's flat. Kiwi's flat. As you can see, the problem here is there's nothing there's really showing tons of movement. Here's our velocity score, and you can see pound and CAD are the strongest, but they're not like they're running. They're going up at the moment, but they're not running. And then we have yen and Swiss franc that are just broken below some support levels. I actually do like yen and Swiss franc short. The biggest problem is, what do I go long against it? Remember, your best trades are when your long is rocketing higher and your short is rocketing lower. That's not what's happening here. And so there are no great trades. There are still trades here to make based on your outlook, but there's no great trades. Let's jump into taking a look at like CAD and pound on the long side and Swiss franc and yen on the short side and see if we have something that makes some sense to do, meaning it's got enough meat on the bone. Whenever I have two currencies, I don't know which to go long. Do I go long pound or CAD? I pair them up. And I say, oh, okay, pound CAD. Which is the strongest? Well, the moving average is drifting lower. That means that the pound is actually weakening slightly against the CAD. This is pretty much, they're about the same. But if you had to have an absolute, what is stronger or weaker right now based on an EMA, it would be the CAD. So the CAD is the strongest one. And then we'll take the Swiss franc and pair that against the yen. And boy, you can see this is a coin toss. Everything in this chart, EMA is virtually flat. RSI is virtually flat. I mean, flip a coin. It doesn't really matter. I'm always going to flip the coin of the yen because the yen's going to have some tighter spreads than the Swiss franc. So for me, the pairing is going to be CAD yen. CAD yen is going to be the pairing based on relative strength and weakness right here, right now. But then I pull out the daily chart and it's like, is this really where I want to be entering? okay, there's a high base here forming. There's a base here forming, and it might run up to the 106 area. 106 is probably about the most bullish I could get. So that's about probably 0.95% to the upside. Now, I don't think I'm going to get all of that. What am I going to get? 0.5% of that? 0.5% is, for me, it's just not a big enough move to go after it. I just don't think you can say that there's going to be a huge move where it runs up into the 107 and 108s. That's just not where we are at the moment. Is it a decent trade? Well, I can't even call it a decent trade. Is it a moderate trade? Yes. Is it a trade? Yes. Is it a great trade? No. We really like our traders at Maverick to wait for the great trades. So I think this is a situation where here we are, we're on a Wednesday. Take a look at pound Swiss franc. You can see pound Swiss franc is basing as well. I actually like this little price action a little bit better on a breakout of 112. A breakout of 112 I could get behind pound Swiss franc running up into the 114 area. That's more like 1.6%, 1.7. That's more in my line of what I'm looking to do. Which means if I'm looking at what's a better trade, CAD yen or pound Swiss franc, I actually like the pound Swiss franc a little bit better because it's got more what I call meat on the bone. Right? I've got more percentage for the risk I'm taking. So pound Swiss franc, but I'm not looking to get into it until that 112 breaks. And that is probably at least 2 or 3 candles away. Look, you can always find a trade. And I learned that as a young trader. It was amazing. I could sit down and in 5 minutes, I could find a great trade. Isn't that amazing? At all times of the day, I could just sit down and within 5 minutes, I could find a great trade. And I could always find a reason to click a button. I learned that that's a great way to churn and chop up your account. Just death by 1,000 cuts. Wait. Just wait. Be patient. I do think that pound Swiss franc does look interesting above 112. But anything else, you know what? I'm going to just sit on my hands and wait. Well, thanks for joining, everyone. Not every day can be a winner. Not every day can be a market that's running. We have to trade the market in front of us. Goodbye.